Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Scott Broadway from Weight Loss Strategies by Scott, and today we're going to be discussing carbohydrates. The reason I want to discuss carbohydrates with you today is that I want you to start making better food choices on a regular basis so that you can successfully boost your chances of losing weight. The reason I'm going to start off with carbohydrates is because this is where most of the confusion lies. People are always asking me, should I eat carbohydrates after a certain time? Should I eat them for breakfast? What are the good sources of carbs, the bad carbs? And because there's so much confusion around the carbohydrates, I want to clear some of this up for you today. So let's start off by knowing what a carbohydrate is, and basically it's a sugar that's broken down into glucose, ready to be used as energy by the body. You probably come across good carbs and bad carbs before. And I don't really like that term, good and bad, because I believe that all carbohydrates have got a place somewhere in your nutrition. So I'm going to refer to carbohydrates as being simple or complex carbs. Generally, complex carbs are more healthier, and after this video you'll know the difference between the two. So the main difference is in the molecular structure of the carbohydrates, and let me just give you a visual so you can see a bit better. Not very accurate, but just a visual representation so you can get a good idea. This is how a simple carbohydrate may look like. And this is how a complex carbohydrate may look like. Now, the simple carbohydrates are broken down a lot more quickly than the complex carbohydrates, and this can often cause a spike in blood sugar levels, which leads to fat being stored easily. So, if you eat a simple carbohydrate, and what's most likely to happen is that blood sugar levels are going to go sky high, and then they're going to come crashing back down. Sky high, crashing back down. This can lead to a lot of fat being stored very easily, especially if you're going to be inactive for a certain period of time once you've ate these simple carbohydrates, because the energy is not going to be used and it's just going to get stored as fat, as excess weight that we want to get rid of. Complex carbohydrates, however, keep things a lot more smooth. They're going to keep you fuller for longer because they don't spike the blood sugar levels too much. And also, they provide sustained energy levels, whereas the simple carbohydrates, these are usually empty calories that don't really give us that feeling of being full, again, which makes us want to eat more. As the blood sugar levels rise and then come crashing back down around about here, this is where we start to get hungry, cravings. We want more food that we don't really need because we haven't provided the right type of fuel for our body previously. Now, there is actually a measurement for how quickly the blood sugar rises within the body, and this is known as the glycemic index, or GI for short. And this measures on a scale of 1 to 100 how quickly the carbohydrates are broken down into glucose throughout the body. Anything that's below 55 is generally considered as low glycemic index value. Between 55 and 75 is kind of medium, and if it's greater than 75, this is considered as being a high GI, and this is the one that you generally probably eating a little bit too much and what's got us into this situation in the first place. So now we know that we need to stop eating so many simple carbohydrates and switch to some complex carbohydrates. And what I wanted to go through now is some food choices and the difference between the two, so you can start making better food choices on a daily basis. If you're ever unsure or you want to find out a little bit more about the glycemic index or on a particular food, just type it into Google, glycemic index of pasta or sweet potatoes, and there's a wealth of information out there. I'm pretty sure you'll find it. If you haven't, just drop me a message and I'll help you out. So let's have a look at some of the different choices that you can make between the simple and carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates. One of the first ones, the most obvious ones, is white and brown foods. Rice, pasta, bread. The white ones are going to cause a spike in your blood sugar levels, and if you're on a dinner break at work and you aren't going to go to the gym till around 6 o'clock and you're having your dinner at like 12 o'clock and you have a lot of white bread in that meantime, your energy levels are going to shoot up and you're not going to be using this energy, so it's just going to get stored. This is where a lot of problems come from. For the complex ones, a much better choice would have been brown rice or some brown bread. Going to keep you fuller for longer, don't forget. Your veggies are a great source of complex carbohydrates. Oats are a great choice. Also nuts, sweet potatoes, much better than the white potatoes if you're not going to be using energy for quite a while. For the simple carbohydrates, a lot of these are quite logical, to be honest with you. Sweets, chocolate, donuts, you know you want to keep away from those. Processed food, especially breakfast cereals, are an absolute killer for people gaining weight. When you wake up in the morning, you've been in a fasted state for quite a long time. Your insulin sensitivity is at its highest, and if you're eating some sugary foods that are going to get broken down into the body quickly, it's the worst time that you could eat it. It's going to get stored as fat very easily, and this might be one of the places where you might want to make some changes pretty quickly, is in your breakfast. If you get off to a good start, generally you're going to go on the rest of the day off to a good start. Hopefully this information has been quite useful for you and you can start to make some changes throughout your carbohydrate selections. If you would like some more help from me to form a nutrition plan based around you and the timing of nutrients to help speed up your fat loss, you can enroll in one of my weight loss programs at any time. Might be a good idea to start off with a 3-month weight loss program, see how you adapt, see how much progress you make, and if you want to join on, if you want to see some of the results that some of my other clients have saw and start fitting in some more clothes, start feeling healthier, more energetic, make sure you send me an email straight away and don't waste any time if you want to make progress in the quickest time possible. Thanks for watching, guys. Speak to you soon.